Deep inside a quiet forest, where tall trees whispered secrets to the wind, there stood a small wooden tea house. It was not big, it was not fancy, but it was warm, gentle, and full of peace. The tea house was built from old brown wood, smooth from years of rain and sun. A soft yellow light glowed from its small windows every evening, like a friendly smile in the darkness. The roof was covered with green moss, and tiny flowers grew near the door, swaying slowly whenever the breeze passed. The forest around it was always calm, very calm. Tall pine trees stood like silent guards. Their leaves made a soft sound, shh, 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 as the wind moved through them. Birds rested on branches, tucking their heads under their wings. Somewhere far away, an owl called softly. Crickets sang their slow, steady song. Inside the tea house, the air was warm and sweet. The smell of tea leaves, honey, and wood mixed together. It was the kind of smell that made your shoulders relax without you even noticing. The kind of smell that told your heart, "You are safe here." A small bell hung above the door. Ting! It rang gently whenever someone entered. Behind the counter stood an old man. His hair was white like cotton. His beard was long and soft. His eyes were kind and slow, like they had seen many seasons and were never in a hurry. His name was Mr. Eli. He never spoke loudly. He never moved fast. Everything he did was slow and smooth and careful. He washed cups slowly. He poured water slowly. He smiled slowly. And somehow, when you watched him, your breathing became slow too. Every evening, just before the sun went down, Mr. Eli would light a small candle on each table. The flames danced quietly, making little shadows on the wooden walls. Outside, the sky would turn orange, then pink, then deep blue. That was when people came. Not many. Daniel did not know how long he had been sleeping. Time had melted. Minutes, hours, they no longer mattered. The tea house was quiet, very quiet. Only the soft crackle of the fire and the gentle breathing of sleeping people and the whisper of the forest outside. Shh, shh, shh. Daniel's head rested comfortably. The small blanket was warm on his shoulders. His chest moved slowly, up, down, up, down. His dreams were soft. No noise, no fear, no rush. Just slow, floating images, like clouds drifting across the sky. Outside, the rain had stopped. The forest smelled fresh, clean, cool. Tiny drops of water hung on leaves, shining in the moonlight. Somewhere a frog croaked once, then went silent again. An owl shifted on a branch, tucking its head closer to its body. The night was peaceful, very peaceful. Inside the tea house, Mr. Eli moved like a shadow. He walked slowly, placing a log on the fire. The flame grew a little, then settled again. He adjusted a candle, wiping melted wax with a cloth. Every movement was gentle, as if he did not want to wake the air. He looked at Daniel, still sleeping, still calm. A small smile touched his lips. He walked to the window and opened it just a little. Cool forest air drifted in. It mixed with the warm smell of tea and wood. The room breathed. In, out, in, out. The woman at the corner table had fallen asleep too. Her head rested on her folded arms. The old man by the door leaned back, mouth slightly open, deep in rest. Even the child was now lying across two chairs, breathing softly. The tea house was no longer a place of sitting. It had become a place of sleeping, of resting, of letting go. Daniel shifted slightly. His fingers twitched. His face relaxed even more. The tight lines on his forehead disappeared. Whatever he had been carrying, whatever weight he had brought, was slowly leaving him. The forest was taking it away. Tree by tree, leaf by leaf, breath by breath. Mr. Eli walked to a small shelf and took down a tiny wooden box. He opened it. Inside were dried lavender flowers. He placed a few in a small bowl and set it near the fire. A soft, calming scent filled the air. It was light, barely there, but soothing. Daniel's breathing became even slower, deeper, like waves, coming in, going out. The firelight danced across his closed eyes. His eyelashes barely moved. His lips parted slightly. He was not dreaming now. He was resting, deep, safe. The forest outside listened. The trees leaned in. The wind softened. Even the insects grew quiet. It was as if the world itself was protecting this sleep. A long time passed, or maybe a short time. No one could tell, because in the forest tea house, time did not rule. Sleep did. Peace did. Stillness did. Mr. Eli sat on a small stool behind the counter. He poured himself a cup of tea. He did not drink it. He just held it, letting the warmth touch his hands. He closed his eyes for a moment, breathing slowly, calmly, like an old tree in the wind. Daniel stirred again, his head tilted slightly. A quiet sigh escaped his lips. Not a sad sigh, a relieved sigh, as if something inside him had finally loosened. Outside, clouds moved across the moon. Light and shadow played on the forest floor. The leaves shone, then darkened, then shone again. The night continued its gentle work, healing, quieting, softening. Daniel's body grew heavier, not in a bad way, in a good way, like sinking into a warm bed, like floating on still water. His arms were loose, his legs were relaxed, his face was smooth. He was completely at rest. Mr. Eli stood and walked slowly to Daniel's table. He placed a small wooden token beside the cup. On it was carved a simple word, rest. Then he stepped away. No sound, no rush. The fire burned low. The candles became small points of light. Shadows grew longer on the walls. The tea house seemed to wrap around its guests like a blanket, holding them, protecting them, letting them sleep. Daniel did not move. He did not think. He did not worry. He only slept, deep, slow, peaceful. And the forest tea house stayed awake for him, watching, waiting, keeping him safe in the quiet of the night. The night had fully settled, not with darkness, but with softness, like a thick, quiet blanket laid gently over the world. Inside the forest tea house, nothing moved, nothing rushed, nothing disturbed. The air itself seemed to be sleeping. Daniel was very deep now, so deep that his body no longer remembered its shape, so deep that his mind had become fog, so deep that his time had lost its meaning. His breathing was slow, long, gentle, in and out, each breath heavier than the last, each breath pulling him further down, further in, further away. The chair beneath him felt wide and warm. The blanket on his shoulders felt like part of him now. He could not tell where his body ended and the comfort began. They had become one. The fire in the fireplace was almost gone. Only red embers glowed, like sleepy eyes watching the room. They blinked, slowly, then rested. The candles were low. Their flames barely moved. The light was soft and golden, touching the walls like a gentle hand. Shadows were long and lazy. Nothing sharp, nothing strong, only soft shapes. Mr. Eli stood quietly near the counter. He folded his hands. His shoulders were relaxed. His breathing was as slow as Daniel's. He did not think. He did not plan. He simply was, watching, waiting, guarding the peace. The forest outside was completely still. No wind, no birds, no movement. The trees stood tall and calm. Leaves did not shake. Branches did not sway. It was as if the forest itself had closed its eyes. The world was resting. Daniel's dream became wider. He was no longer in a place. He was in a feeling of floating, a feeling of drifting, a feeling of being carried. He was moving but not walking, floating but not. The world was no longer loud. The world was no longer clear. The world was no longer near. Everything had moved far, far, far away. Only sleep remained. Only quiet remained. Only the slow, soft rhythm of peace. Inside the forest tea house, the night had grown thick and gentle. The darkness was not empty. It was full of calm, full of stillness, full of rest. Daniel was beyond dreaming now, beyond thinking, beyond remembering. He was not in a place. He was not in a body. He was in rest. His breathing was a slow whisper, barely there, like a leaf touching water, like a cloud touching the sky. In, out, long, slow. The chair beneath him was no longer a chair. It was a warm field, a soft bed, a quiet space. His body had melted into it. There was no line between him and comfort. They were the same. The blanket was not a blanket. It was a cloud, a soft, endless cloud that held him without effort, without pressure, without weight. The last ember in the fireplace finally dimmed, not suddenly, not sharply, slowly, like a tired eye closing. The glow turned red, then dark, then gone. The room became darker, but not empty, not cold, not lonely. It became deeper, the kind of darkness that hugs, the kind that heals, the kind that protects. The candles were now tiny points, small stars in a wooden sky. Their light barely touched the walls. Shadows became soft, round, gentle. Nothing moved. Nothing needed to. Mr. Eli stood very still. His breathing was slow. His heart was calm. He did not watch with his eyes. He watched with his presence. The forest outside had become one with the night. Trees were no longer shapes. They were silhouettes, quiet giants sleeping in place. The air was thick with peace. Even the ground felt still. Daniel's mind was empty. No images, no sounds, no colors. Just a deep, wide, endless quiet. He was floating. Not up, not down. Just floating. In nothing. In everything. In rest. His chest rose and fell, very slowly, very gently, like the sea at night. A sea with no waves. A sea with no storms. Only slow breathing water. In the tea house, the child sighed softly. His fingers twitched, then became still again. His mother's head leaned gently to the side. Her face was calm. The old man near the door had sunk deep into his chair. His mouth was closed now, his breathing steady. The woman in the corner had a soft smile on her lips, as if she was dreaming something kind. The tea house was full of sleep. Not empty, full. Full of resting hearts, full of quiet souls, full of peaceful minds. Daniel's body felt heavy, not painful heavy, comfortable heavy, like sinking into warm sand, like sinking into thick blankets, like sinking into water that holds you. Down, down, down. There was no bottom, no edge, only softness, only holding, only quiet. His thoughts were gone, not pushed, not forced, just gone, like mist in the sun, like sound in distance, like worry in peace. He was nothing, and nothing was perfect. In the dream world, there was no dream. In the mind, there was no mind. In the body, there was no tension. Only sleep, deep, wide, endless. The forest leaned closer to the tea house. Branches touched the roof. Leaves touched the walls. It was not noise. It was a touch, a gentle touch, like a hand on a shoulder, like a blanket on a child. Shh. The sound was not sound. It was comfort. Daniel did not hear it. He felt it. Somewhere very far, water flowed. Not loud, not fast, slow, steady. A river breathing in the dark. But Daniel was below that, below sound, below movement, below time. He was in the place where everything stops, and stopping feels good, very good. Mr. Eli moved once, just once. He walked to the center of the room. His steps made no sound. He stood there. He closed his eyes. He placed one hand on his chest. He breathed, slow, deep, calm. Then he opened his eyes and smiled, a small smile, a satisfied smile, a peaceful smile. He whispered so softly even the air barely heard, "Sleep well." Daniel did not respond. He could not. He was too far, too deep, too safe. The tea house seemed to exhale, a long, slow exhale, as if the building itself had relaxed. The walls softened, the roof settled, the floor rested. Everything was at peace. Daniel's breathing became even slower, longer between each breath, longer between each rise, longer between each fall. But it was steady, strong, safe. His heart beat quietly, slowly, like a drum under water. He was wrapped in darkness, wrapped in warmth, wrapped in stillness, layer after layer, like blankets, like clouds, like night. The forest was now completely silent. No insects, no birds, no wind. Only being, only existing, only resting. Time did not pass. It simply was. Daniel was no longer Daniel. He was not a man, not a name, not a story. He was a breath, a warmth, a calm presence. He was sleep, deep sleep, perfect sleep. The kind of sleep that heals bones, the kind that repairs hearts, the kind that quiets minds, the kind that resets souls. He was being fixed, gently, quietly, without effort, without pain. The tea house watched. The forest watched. The night watched. All stood guard. Nothing was allowed to disturb. Nothing was allowed to enter. Nothing was allowed to break the calm. Daniel was protected, held, carried. The darkness became thicker, but softer, like velvet, like cotton, like clouds. He sunk even more, deeper, 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 until there was no down, only rest, only quiet, only peace. His thoughts were gone, not pushed, not forced, just gone, like mist in the sun, like sound in distance, like worry in peace. He was nothing, and nothing was perfect. In the dream world, there was no dream. In the mind, there was no mind. In the body, there was no tension. Only sleep, deep, wide, endless. The forest leaned closer to the tea house. Branches touched the roof. Leaves touched the walls. It was not noise. It was a touch, a gentle touch, like a hand on a shoulder, like a blanket on a child. Shh. The sound was not sound. It was comfort. Daniel did not hear it, he felt it. Somewhere very far, water flowed, not loud, not fast, slow, steady, a river breathing in the dark. But Daniel was below that, below sound, below movement, below time. He was in the place where everything stops, and stopping feels good, very good. Mr. Eli moved once, just once. He walked to the center of the room. His steps made no sound. He stood there. He closed his eyes. He placed one hand on his chest. He breathed, slow, deep, calm. Then he opened his eyes and smiled, a small smile, a satisfied smile, a peaceful smile. He whispered so softly even the air barely heard, "Sleep well." Daniel did not respond. He could not. He was too far, too deep, too safe. The tea house seemed to exhale, a long, slow exhale, as if the building itself had relaxed. The walls softened, the roof settled, the floor rested. Everything was at peace. Daniel's breathing became even slower, longer between each breath, longer between each rise, longer between each fall. But it was steady, strong, safe. His heart beat quietly, slowly, like a drum under water. He was wrapped in darkness, wrapped in warmth, wrapped in stillness, layer after layer, like blankets, like clouds, like night.